all the PPTs I will post. So what is 1NF, or why, how we can say that a table is in one first normal form? There are 4 rules to follow. First, if suppose this is a table, these are my attributes, these are my column names, these are the attributes. So the name of the attributes will always be unique. There is no duplicate attribute name. The name of the attributes will always be unique. First criteria. Second, the column values. Suppose this column's values, if I insert numeric values, then all the sets of the values of this particular column will be numeric in nature. If I insert varchar value, all the fields will have varchar values in nature. Next point, the tuples or the records, the insertion process of the tuples or the records do not follow any order. So I can insert roll number 1 and batch data. After that I can insert roll number 5's data. After that I can insert roll number 3's data, and so on. There is no hard and fast rule that I have to insert it in order. There are sorting policies. I hope you know them. If not, you will get to know them in lab. So whenever we are inserting records in our tables, that are tuples in the tables, vehicles in the tables, please mute yourself. Whoever has unmuted himself or herself, please mute it. So when we are inserting tuples, there is no specific order of insertion, because after insertion we can sort the values. Fine. And the last particular point in 1NF, each cell, that means suppose there are 3 rows, 4 columns, 3 rows. So each cell, that means the intersection point of a particular row and column, each cell will have atomic values or single values. That means I cannot write DBMS, AI with respect to one student. I cannot write it like this. So each cell will have atomic values. So 4 points to remember to declare one particular table is in 1NF. Understand, 1NF does not deal with the functional dependency set. Whether a functional dependency set given on a particular table or not given on a particular table does not matter. We can declare the table is in 1NF just by looking at the table. Okay, looking at the structure. So just an example that we had discussed. See here, first how to judge it is in 1NF. The column names are unique. The first column is having all numeric values, all same type values. Second column is having all varchar values. Third column is also having varchar values. Fine. But the problem lies, this value is not atomic. This value is not atomic. Each cell is not containing atomic value. So what I will do, I will say Econ is studying OS in one particular row and computer network in another particular row. Beacon is studying C in one row, C++ in another row. So it will look like this as a resultant table. Fine. So this is your 1NF. How to judge a thing is in 1NF or not, this is how we can judge. Fine. Next, 2NF. I'm going very quickly because these things we have already done. Just to make you a quick recap, I'm doing all this. So a table to be in 2NF, it should be in 1NF first. That means those 4 criteria they will always satisfy. And other than that, there should not be any partial dependency. Means, what is partial dependency? If a part of a candidate key, what is a part of a candidate key? We call it as a prime attribute. When a prime attribute individually tries to determine a non-prime attribute, we call that as a partial dependency. When a prime attribute individually tries to determine a non-prime attribute, we call that as partial dependency. Okay, so a table to be in 2NF, no partial dependency should be present. Fine. So how to determine whether there are partial dependencies or not? We have to consider the FD set from 2NF onwards. So not only the table will be given to you to judge whether a table is in 2NF or not, we will have the FD set also in order to check whether that is in 2NF or not, whether that is having any partial dependency or not. So if there is any partial dependency, if there is any prime to non-prime dependency, then what we will do? We will keep the original table, and in this table the prime attribute will be present, and we will create another table where the prime to non-prime mapping will be going on along with any set of other attributes. Okay, so if I find the partial dependency in my table and I want to make it into 2NF, what I will do? I will divide the table into two sections. One section is the original section where all the primary keys and other attributes will be present along with the prime attribute that is creating problem here. And the other table, that is the new table, that table will contain the problem makers, the prime and non-prime attributes, and along with that, if some other attribute is required, that attribute will also be given here. Okay, in the new table. Fine. So quickly we can look at this example. You can see the attributes: core ID, student ID, subject ID, marks, and teacher. So core ID you can see here can be a primary key, but if I consider student ID plus subject ID to be the candidate key, then you can understand that teacher is subject dependent. Teacher is not student dependent. Teacher is subject dependent. So subject ID individually is determining teacher. So there will be a relation subject ID to teacher. That means a part of a candidate key, a prime attribute, is trying to determine a non-prime attribute. So that is a partial dependency. Hence we will break the table, and the teacher and the subject ID will remain in the child table. Subject name is the new introduction, as I have told you. You can give it, you may not give it, not a problem. And in the original table, subject ID is remaining as the original prime attribute. Fine. And teacher is discarded here. So subject ID and teacher is making a new table. So the problem makers, the non-prime and the prime attribute, the problem makers, they are developing the new table. Fine. Next, 3NF. 3NF is following 2NF. That means partial dependency eliminated, and should not have any transitive dependency. That means A to B, B to C, A to C. This type of dependencies should not be present. Again, someone has unmuted himself or herself. So if there is any transitive dependency, we need to eliminate that. So how we will do that? You can see in the transitive dependency, the left hand side is either a super key, that means a key value, or the right hand side is a prime attribute. Fine. So if we find the transitive dependency, we will break the problem makers. The part where the transitive dependency is present, we will break that and make a new table. So quickly, if you look at the example, this is just explanation, this is not the example. This one is the example, you see. Score ID, student ID, subject ID, marks, exam name, total marks. Now you see, subject ID will determine exam name. If it is DBMS, I can say that your exam name is PCCCS 603, and suppose you have scored marks 75. So subject ID is determining exam name is determining total marks. Subject ID is determining exam name, and exam name is determining total marks. That means that this is a transitive dependency, A to B, B to C. Subject ID is determining your total marks. That means, so if there is this type of any problem or confusion or dependency, then how we will do? This exam ID or exam name along with total marks will be a separate table. So you just discard your total marks column from here, you just discard your total marks column from here and you create a new table. This is getting rid of transitive dependence. Fine. Next, a higher version of your third NF, 3NF, is the BCNF, boycott normal form. So what happens here? Here the stringent rule is, if there is a given FD set for a relation, if there is a given FD set for a relation, R is a relation, and suppose there are given FD set, 4 FDs. For each FD, the left hand side should be a super key. That is the rule. To satisfy BCNF, all the functional dependencies, each one of them, their left hand side must be a super key. Their left hand side must be a super key. That is the rule for 3NF. Sorry, that is the rule for BCNF. Fine. So example is given. I am again not repeating it. Now we come to the concept of 4NF. Concept of 4NF is just there in the syllabus, but when we are checking for highest dependency, we will not go into the details of 4NF. So for a relation to be in 4NF, it should first follow the rules of boycott normal form, that is BCNF. Along with that, there should not be more than one multi-valued dependence. There should not be more than one multi-valued dependence. Now we check what do you mean by multi-valued dependence. Suppose there are 3 columns A, B and C in a table. A is determining B and A is determining C. If this is the case, then we call the scenario as multi-valued dependency and we represent that as A double arrow B and A double arrow C. So if you say that a table is having multi-valued dependency, that means for a single value of A, there will be multiple values of B and multiple values of C existing in the table. So if you take the example of student ID along with course that he or she is taking and activities that he or she is doing, then suppose student ID 1 taking the course of suppose mathematics, any random course, and doing activities singing, and the same person is doing activity of dancing. That means by student ID only, I can search the value of course and I can search the value of activity simultaneously. So if a relation is having at least 3 columns, if a relation, you can note this thing down or you can remember it. If a relation is having at least 3 columns, then we can say that whether a particular column is trying to determine more than one column values, or you can say in other terms that for one particular value of a column, more than one values are existing in some other column. Okay, that is the multi-valued dependency. Another example I can give you in multi-valued dependency. Suppose the model of a car A car model is one column, second column is the manufacturing year, and the third column is suppose the color or the capacity, anything. So by the car model only, I can find the manufacturing year as well as the value of the color. That means the first column, that is the car model number, is determining the manufacturing year as well as the color. So for one value of a column, multiple values of other columns are dependent. This type of scenario, we call this as multi-valued dependency. And if multi-valued dependency is present, we cannot call that as a 4NF, the table as in 4NF. Okay, so you do not require very big knowledge on 4NF or multi-valued dependency. Just being a fresher, you will be understanding what is multi-valued dependency with an example like I have told you. And there are several examples present on your book over the materials of internet. Wherever you search, you will find. So just understand one example. With that, you will be given with a set of FDs. You will be given with a set of FDs. And you will be asked for find out the highest normal form attained by this particular relation. Okay. So here you require all the previous knowledge. Fine. So just try to concentrate. If you have pen and paper, you can solve it with me to understand the concept well. First, we will be finding all possible candidate keys in a relation. To find out the candidate key, what are the steps? We will draw the edge diagram. We will find out the essential attributes. Candidate key is present in a particular table. When we find the candidate key, we know who are the prime attributes and who are the non-prime attributes. So we will distribute the total set of relation into prime and non-prime attribute set. Okay. What is a prime attribute? The variables or the attributes that are a part of any candidate key present in your table. Again, people have unmuted themselves unnecessarily, I think. Anyone who has unmuted themselves, please mute it. Someone help them to mute themselves. I think they are not in front of the system or mobile or anything like that. So please. After this, I will start checking from the first normal form. Now, while only FD is given, we need not check 1NF. If the FD is given, the table structure is not given, that means we will not check the first NF. We will not check 1NF. We will start checking from 2NF. 2NF means partial dependency, we will check. Then 3NF means transitive dependency, we will check. And likewise, we will follow. Now see, at a given point of time, I will find that I fail to attain 3NF. Suppose I was checking 1NF, 1NF is already done, 2NF, 2NF is satisfied, but when I reach to 3NF, I find it is not satisfying 3NF. So what is the highest normal form? It is 3NF minus 1. The one that is failing, the highest normal form will be minus 1. It has satisfied 2NF, but it has failed to satisfy 3NF. That means the highest normal form attained by this particular table is 3NF minus 1. That is nothing but 2NF. Fine. So that is what is my fourth point. If it fails to satisfy nth normal form condition, then the highest normal form will be n minus 1. Then the highest normal form will be n minus 1. Okay? Just give me a second. I have muted all the participants again in the midway. If you require, should I put it in lecture mode so that you cannot unmute yourselves? I am viewing this today. From the next class onwards, if after repetitive telling you are not muting yourself or you are unnecessarily unmuting yourself to play some music or doing something unnecessary in a class, then I will put the lecture into lecture mode. I'll put the meeting into lecture mode, like it should be. You cannot unmute yourself and you cannot say anything. It will be again like an YouTube live. I'm giving you the provision that you can unmute yourself and talk, but only if you have a query. If you do not have a query, why you are unmuting yourself and wasting all of our time? If you do not want to attend, you just leave. I'll get the report that this person has attended for this much amount of time, or these many person only have joined. Next time if I find, I will put it into lecture mode. I cannot help. Do not want any unnecessary problems in the class. I hope you get my point.
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Repeat what? Repeat what? Which example or the steps?
Ma'am, 1 and 2.
1 and 2 NF.
No, ma'am. These PPT 1 and 2. Can you once more explain?
PPT 1 and 2 means what? 1 NF and 2 NF.
He was asking about the steps.
Step 1 and 2. Yes, yes. Okay. Point how to attain the highest normal. Sorry. How to attain the first normal form or the highest normal form? First, I will be finding out all possible candidate keys in my table. So, if a relation is given, suppose R of A, B, C, D, and some random FDs I am just considering on my own. Suppose these two FDs given, that means this is my FD set. Based on this, I will draw an edge diagram. If you have not attended previous class, then you will not understand. But when I will go to the example, you may understand. So, edge diagram I will draw, and from that I will find out the essential attributes. By finding the essential attribute, I will find the candidate. This is a type of problem we have already done. After I find all the candidate keys in my table, I will categorize the attributes, that means ABCD, into prime and non-prime category. Prime attributes are those which are a part of your candidate key, and non-prime attributes are those which are not a part of any candidate key present. Fine. After this categorization, we will start our checking from 1NF. Now I have told you that we will not check 1NF because if only relation and their FDs are given, there is no provision to check the schema of the table, right? So we will consider that all the tables that are given to us are in 1NF. Fine. We will start the checking from 2NF. How to check 2NF? We will be checking on the partial dependency. So partial dependency means what? I have just now discussed it. If there is any prime attribute trying to find a non-prime attribute, that becomes a partial dependency. So if it is present, then we say that the table is not in 2NF. That means it belongs to 1NF only. We will only go high. That means after 1NF, I will check 2, then I will check 3, then BCNF. When the lower one is satisfied. Okay. So once I attain to a position, suppose where my 3NF is not satisfied, that I was talking about. I reach to a position where my transitive dependency is still present in the table. Then I will say that the table's highest normal form is -1 of 3NF. That means 3NF minus 1 means it is 2NF. So if I fail to attain any one of my normal forms, then I will say the highest normal form attained by that table or relation is the -1. That is, if it is failing 3NF, the highest normal form is 2NF. Okay. Now by all this theory, you may be confused. So let us jump into the example. See here, all the steps are written. For this particular problem, all the steps are written, but I am not reading the steps, I am just doing it. A, B, C, D, E. I am following the steps that I was discussing in the previous slide. Edge diagram I am drawing. So following the dependencies only, we will draw the edge diagram. That is step number 1. So BC to D, A and C to B and E. Okay, and from B, from only B, I drag a line to E. This is my edge diagram. Who are my essential attributes? Who are not having any incoming edge on them. So A is not having any incoming edge. B is having incoming edge, this one. C is not having any incoming edge. D is having incoming edge. E is having incoming edge. Okay. So A and C, they are my essential attribute. Now I have to find out my candidate key. What is the goal of finding essential attribute? Essential attributes cannot be determined by any other attribute present. So in my candidate key, A and C both will be present. A and C both will be present. So first I will take the closure of them. AC is determining BE and BC is determining D. So BC is present, so it is determining D. That means this is equals to R. So AC is my key. Which type of key? Which type of key AC is? It is a candidate key. Why? Sorry. Why? Because no proper subset of AC, no proper subset of AC is a candidate key or super key. AC subset is what? What is a subset of AC? A closure and C closure? Is A closure is giving you R? No. Is C closure is giving you R? No. That means what? AC is no proper subset, is a super key. That means I can declare AC as my candidate key. So how to determine candidate key? First draw the edge diagram, then find out the essential attribute, then group the essential attributes and try to find out whether that is a key or not. Okay. Now, can there be any other candidate keys present in my table? Can anyone answer? It is written on the slide that there is only one candidate key. Why? Can anyone answer? You can unmute yourself and answer. Yes.
Ma'am, as we when we consider AC as closer, then we can find all the A, B, C, D, E, and
Yes.
it is in the numerator. That's why one candidate is one.
Yeah, no, but why anything other than AC is a candidate key? If I take suppose I take A, C is there, I add B along with it, then it is also determining R. So why A, C, B or ABC is not a candidate key? Can anyone answer?
Ma'am, because AC is already a key.
And
So
AC is already a key and
so proper
I am yes, and I am AC is the variable. Yes, AC is the proper subset of ABC. That means when AC is a key, when AC, thank you for your answer, and the answer is correct. Whoever has prompted, the answer is correct. If I take ABC, if I take ACD, any variable added to AC, always that will determine R. Hence, that will be a super key. But as the proper subset of that super key is a candidate key, so we cannot call that as a candidate key further. And if I suppose take CD, can it be a candidate key? Always the answer will be no. No other combination that is not having AC together will be a key, because AC is my essential attribute. A and C both are my essential attribute. Hence, the table will have only one candidate key. The table will have only one candidate key. All other notations are cancelled. All other notations are cancelled. So with AC we will proceed. Now I have to check for, see here every other combination is checked and they have proved that AC is the only candidate key. Okay. Now we will be checking for 1NF, 2NF like that. But before that, what is my prime attribute? Part of candidate key. What is my non-prime attribute? Part other than my candidate key. Okay. So, based on this, yes.
Ma'am, can you repeat once why AC is only candidate key? Why not other?
See here, AC is, I'm answering. Yes, the essential attribute is or are A and C. Okay, individually A cannot be equals to R. Individually C cannot be R. If I combine AC, I get R. That means it gives me the confusion AC is the candidate key. Now, what else can be candidate key? If I take B, B is a variable, so B closure I can check, D closure I can check, E closure I can check. Every one of them is giving me not equals to R. That means this is not a candidate key, this is not a candidate key, this is not a candidate key. If you try to combine the variables other than AC, everyone else is failing to give you R. That means every one of them is failing to be proved as a key. So if it is not a key, it cannot be a candidate key. 1 point. Another point. If you have AC and you add variables, then their closure will always be equals to R. That means this is a super key and every one of them are super keys because everyone's closure is equals to R. But everyone's proper subset is AC itself. Everyone's proper subset is AC itself. So if its proper subset is AC, that means ACB can be a super key but cannot be a candidate key. What is the definition of candidate key? No proper subset of a candidate key can be a super key. But this one's proper subset is a super key or a candidate key. That means this total cannot be further considered as a candidate key. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will proceed towards the checking of normal forms. What I have told you, if only relation and its FD set is given, I will consider that it is already in 1NF. Okay. Now we will proceed towards the 2NF. What is the method of checking 2NF? Prime to non-prime. If there is any prime to non-prime determination, we will say that the table is not in 2NF. So see the first one. I am writing it here at the corner. Okay. BC to D. B and C, are they prime attribute? No. C is a prime attribute, B is not. So this particular relation does not fall under this category. Okay. Prime to non-prime determination is not there. AC to BE. AC is totally a candidate key, but individually they are not prime attributes. A and C, individual prime attributes they are, but in total that is a candidate key. So I cannot consider AC as a prime attribute. One prime attribute individually trying to determine a non-prime attribute. There only I will say 2NF does not hold. But here, AC to BE, AC is a candidate key. That means it's a collection of prime attributes. Okay. If only C is determining BE, if only C is determining BE, then I will say this is not allowed because C is a part of a candidate key trying to determine non-prime attributes. But this is allowed. This is okay. This is also okay. And B to E, this is not a prime attribute. B is not a prime attribute. So B to E is also allowed. So 2NF holds good. 2NF holds good. Now if I propagate towards 3NF, I will now tell you the shortcut to check 3NF. Now I will tell you the shortcut to check 3NF. If there is any alpha to beta dependency, either alpha will be a super key or beta will be a prime attribute. Shortcut to check 3NF. Either alpha, that is the left hand side, will be a super key or the right hand side will be a prime attribute. Either or, anyone being true, then 3NF